it was MJ was must see TV. Like anytime he was on TV, like it was must see. And
WGN.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. He just had this charisma on top of all the gifts and skills and mentally, how great he is. I mean, playing against him, the one thing that I think that he was unlike any other player I've ever played against is that there was a real fear playing against him. Like people, I've never seen like the league be kind of fearful of a player or have that much reverence for a player. No matter who has come since then, that was a different feeling when you're playing Mike, because you just knew, like there was such a seriousness and competitiveness and fire in him, and there was a fear with how that was going to manifest itself potentially on any given night. So he was. I mean, where do you want to start and where do you want to finish with him? He was everything. It's tricky, I think MJ's my guy for sure, always. When you talk about LeBron and Kobe, like I totally understand why people have LeBron where he is, either first or second in many people's eyes. When you look at the whole picture of everything LeBron's done over the course of his career, it's hard to argue with. I think at his best, Kobe was right up there with any of them. I don't know where the knock is, but he when he was flying and playing at his best, he was as good as we've ever seen. So I don't know. I think you probably have me saying Jordan, LeBron, Kobe on the total picture, but I mean, how do you go wrong? At their best, they're all three of them. At their best, all three of them have played the game at a level higher than anyone else in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
There are those who come before us, upon whose shoulders we stand. When Steve Nash, two-time MVP, one of the most cerebral point guards in NBA history, said those words, he wasn't speaking in riddles. He was invoking a truth that every generation of players must face. Greatness is built on the giants who came before, and in basketball, there is one giant who towers above them all, Michael Jordan. Nash doesn't hesitate, doesn't play politics, doesn't try to please the crowd. To him, Jordan is the greatest player to ever play the game. Not because of numbers, not because of highlight reels, but because of the way he changed the very atmosphere of the sport. For kids in the 90 seconds, Jordan wasn't just basketball. He was a cultural earthquake. He was must-see TV. The man who turned every Chicago Bulls game into a global event. Before YouTube, before Instagram, before the age of 24/7 access, Jordan lived in the rarest space a human being can occupy, the space of myth. You didn't just watch him, you waited for him. You held your breath for him. And when he appeared, the world seemed to stop. This is where the GOAT debate truly begins, not with stats, not with longevity, but with impact that transcends the game itself. Fear, the weapon no one could escape. Steve Nash didn't mince words. He said something that should freeze every fan in their seat. The one thing unlike any other player I've ever played against is that there was a real fear playing against him. I've never seen the league be fearful of a player like that. Fear, not respect, not admiration. Fear, that is the core of Jordan's greatness. Numbers can be debated, longevity can be measured, but fear is undeniable. Fear lives in the eyes of your opponents. Fear is the silent confession that even before the tip-off, the battle is already lost. Where did that fear come from? It came from the aura. Every arena knew. When Jordan walked in, the air shifted. He wasn't just another superstar, he was inevitability in human form. Fans leaned forward, opponents tightened their shoes, knowing it still wouldn't matter. Even referees admitted they felt the weight of his presence. It came from his skill. Jordan could glide above you, slash through you, or fade away right over you. His hands palmed the ball like a toy. His footwork broke defenders before the ball even left his fingertips. Facing Jordan was standing on quicksand. Every move you made, he had a counter. It came from his killer instinct. Jordan wasn't satisfied with beating you. He wanted to bury you. He wanted to make sure when you left the arena, you carried his name in your nightmares. He would lock eyes with you, smile that cold smile, and you knew he was coming for your soul. It came from the unknown. Nash said it best. You never knew how it would manifest itself on any given night. Would it be 50 points raining from everywhere? Would it be a suffocating defense that left you scoreless? Or would it be the final dagger, the shot that killed not just your season but your belief? Against Jordan, you didn't know what form the storm would take. You only knew it was coming. This is what separates Jordan from everyone else. LeBron is admired. Kobe was respected, sometimes feared. But Jordan? Jordan made entire teams tremble before the ball was even tipped. Imagine being a professional athlete, the best in the world at what you do, and still feeling like a child caught in the headlights when #23 stared at you. That's what Jordan did. He was not simply a player, he was a force of nature, a living nightmare, a shadow that swallowed hope, and that fear more than any stat, more than any trophy, is what made him untouchable. The Iron Era, where legends were forged. Michael Jordan did not rise in an age of mercy. He rose in the Iron Age of basketball, an era built on bruises, broken bones, and unrelenting physicality. This was a time when hand-checking was legal, when a defender could grab your jersey, push your ribs, and steer you like a car on the highway, and referees let it go. A time when hard fouls were not highlight reels, they were battle scars. Today, a brush on the wrist is a flagrant foul. Back then, driving through the lane was like entering a war zone. And at the center of this storm stood the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys. Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman. They created the infamous Jordan rules. Rules not to guard him, but to punish him. Hit him every time he touched the ball. Knock him to the floor. Make him pay for every point. The message was clear. You may score, but you will bleed. Most players broke under that kind of punishment. Jordan adapted. He rebuilt his body, adding muscle, transforming himself into something more than an artist, a warrior. The Pistons wanted to intimidate him. Instead, they forged him. By the early 90 seconds, Jordan was no longer just the most gifted scorer. He was the strongest, most relentless competitor alive. He learned to absorb pain, to use contact as fuel, to smile after being knocked down because he knew he was coming back stronger. Steve Nash asked the question every fan must face in this GOAT debate. What rules are we using? Because if you drop today's stars into that furnace, into the era of the Jordan rules, the Knicks' elbows, the Celtics' dynasties, the Lakers' muscle, could they survive? Jordan didn't just survive, he dominated. He turned the most brutal era of basketball into his personal stage. This is why his 6 championships mean more than just numbers. Each one was carved out of stone, earned against legends, forged in blood and fire. Jordan was not only the greatest talent, he was the greatest survivor. And in that iron era, survival meant dominance. Nash's ranking: Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. When Steve Nash, a 2-time MVP, one of the sharpest minds ever to play the game, was asked to rank Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant, he didn't hesitate. MJ's my guy for sure, always. You probably have me saying Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. To Nash, Jordan stands at the summit. LeBron follows. And Kobe, despite his brilliance, comes third. But what's important here isn't just the order. It's the clarity. There was no pause, no political fence-sitting. Nash has seen all 3. He played against Jordan in his twilight, faced Kobe in his prime, and witnessed LeBron's rise firsthand. And still, the choice was obvious. Why? Because Jordan isn't just measured by numbers. Yes, LeBron's longevity is historic. Yes, Kobe's killer instinct was legendary. But Jordan was the total package, the perfect finals record, the unstoppable dominance in the toughest era, the psychological warfare that no one else could replicate. Kobe may have mirrored Jordan's every move, down to the fadeaway and the footwork, but even Nash admits Jordan was the original. Kobe was the reflection. And LeBron? For all his greatness, Nash acknowledges his incredible career. It's hard to argue with the whole picture of everything LeBron's done. But admiration does not equal supremacy. Respect does not equal fear. That's why Nash's list matters. Because it isn't just his preference. It's the reflection of what players themselves felt. Those who stood across from Jordan carry the memory of his fire, his aura, his intimidation. They don't debate it, they testify to it. Jordan, then LeBron, then Kobe. The order is not an insult to Kobe or LeBron. It is a recognition of a hierarchy set in stone by the players who lived it. Respecting LeBron. But why he's not Jordan? Steve Nash did not dismiss LeBron James. On the contrary, he gave him his flowers. We need to look at the whole picture of everything LeBron's done over the course of his career. It's hard to argue with. And Nash is right. 21 years of dominance, 10 trips to the finals, 4 championships, an all-time scoring record, and a career that redefined longevity. LeBron has been the face of the NBA for nearly 2 decades, carrying teams, building schools, speaking out for communities. He is respected, admired, celebrated. But here's the truth Nash made clear. Respect is not fear. LeBron commands admiration. Jordan commanded inevitability. When you face LeBron, you know you're battling a legend. You respect his size, his skill, his vision. But you believe you have a chance. You believe, on the right night, you might win. When you faced Jordan, you didn't believe. You prayed. LeBron has lost in the finals 6 times. Jordan? Never. LeBron is celebrated for his versatility, for doing a little of everything. Jordan was celebrated for being the best at everything. Offense, defense, leadership, killer instinct. LeBron is greatness stretched across time. Jordan is greatness compressed into perfection. And that perfection 6-0 inches the finals, 6 finals MVPs, never letting a series reach a Game 7 is why Nash cannot place LeBron above Jordan. Because longevity without fear can never outweigh dominance that turned opponents into shadows before the game even started. LeBron is a titan, but Jordan is the storm. One is admired, the other is feared. And in the world of sport, fear is the ultimate truth. Kobe Bryant, the closest echo to Jordan. When Steve Nash spoke of Kobe Bryant, his tone shifted not with dismissal, but with reverence. At his best, Kobe was right up there with any of them, and that is true. If anyone ever dared to walk in Jordan's footsteps, it was Kobe. From the fadeaway jumper to the footwork in the post, from the icy stare to the relentless work ethic, Kobe was the mirror that reflected Jordan's silhouette onto a new generation. He studied Jordan like scripture. He copied his movements, his mindset, even his cadence on the court. And in moments, it was uncanny, the foot shuffle, the pull-up jumper, the tongue wagging after a dunk. Watching Kobe sometimes felt like watching Jordan reborn. But even Kobe admitted the truth himself. Everything I got from him. And that is the difference. Jordan was the source. Kobe was the echo. Kobe's greatness lies not in surpassing Jordan, but in proving that Jordan's blueprint was eternal. He showed the world that Jordan's formula, talent plus obsession plus killer instinct, could still work in the 2000s, even against Shaq, Duncan, and a league evolving into a faster, flashier style. Kobe gave us the Mamba mentality, a philosophy of relentlessness that inspired millions. He was a living tribute to Jordan's fire. But in that tribute lies the truth. There is only one original flame. Kobe was legendary. Kobe was iconic. Kobe was necessary, but Kobe was chasing a shadow that could never be caught. Michael Jordan remained the unmovable standard, the prototype no one, not even the most dedicated student, could surpass. The Last Dance and legacy. When The Last Dance documentary dropped, it wasn't just entertainment, it was revelation. For fans of the 90 seconds, it was a time machine. Steve Nash captured it perfectly. Didn't it just take you back, like to being a kid again? Watching those unseen moments, the fiery locker room speeches, the behind-the-scenes rivalries, was like peering behind the curtain of a god. And yet, instead of diminishing the myth, it only amplified it. We saw Jordan's humanity, the frustration, the obsession, the tears. And in that humanity, the legend grew larger, because what the world realized was this. He wasn't flawless, but he demanded perfection anyway. He wasn't kind, but he was undeniable. He wasn't easy to follow, but he was impossible to resist. 2 decades after his final shot in a Bulls uniform, the world still couldn't look away. That is legacy. That is immortality. The GOAT debate. Defining the standard. Steve Nash asked the one question that slices to the core of the GOAT debate. What rules are we using? Because greatness is not just about numbers. It is about context. If the standard is dominance, Jordan wins undefeated in the finals, with a killer aura that no one has matched. If the standard is longevity and stats, LeBron rises 21 seasons, breaking records that may never be touched. If the standard is mentality, Kobe comes closest the disciple who carried Jordan's fire into a new century. But when you put all the standards together, dominance, longevity, mentality, impact, there is still only one man who checks every box at the highest level. Michael Jordan, Jordan is the reason the term GOAT even exists in basketball. Without him, there is no debate. With him, there can only be comparisons, shadows, echoes. As Nash said, LeBron and Kobe are great, historically great. But Jordan is the measuring stick itself. He is not part of the debate. He is the reason there is a debate. Eyewitness testimony. Nash's final word. This is what makes Steve Nash's voice so powerful. He is not speculating from a studio. He is not crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. He is not a fan shouting from the cheap seats. He was there. He laced up his sneakers, stepped onto the hardwood, and looked Michael Jordan in the eye. He felt the weight of that aura. He experienced the seriousness, the competitiveness, the fire that Jordan carried into every possession. And when asked to name his GOAT, Nash did not hesitate. MJ was my hero, and to me, the greatest ever. Those words matter because they are not abstract. They are testimony. Testimony from a two-time MVP, from a Hall of Famer, from a man who faced Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, and still says there is no equal. Conclusion. The immortal standard. At their best, all three, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, played the game of basketball at a level most humans could never even dream of. They are legends in their own right. They belong on GOAT Island, as Vince Carter once said. But Steve Nash revealed the ultimate dividing line. Only one man turned respect into fear. Only one man walked into an arena and made the entire league tremble before the game even began. Michael Jordan. He wasn't just the best scorer. He wasn't just a champion. He was inevitability itself, the storm on the horizon, the nightmare in your sleep, the man who refused to lose when the lights shined brightest. LeBron is admired, Kobe is revered, but Jordan is feared. And in sports, in the battlefields of human competition, fear is the final truth. That's why Nash didn't hesitate. That's why the world still debates, but secretly knows. Michael Jordan is not just the GOAT. He is the immortal standard, the one all others are measured against, the one no one will ever surpass.